Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this hat here. Now, it's made with, it's got some different ribbing in it. Here you can see some vertical ribbing, and right here you'll see the horizontal ribbing, just to add a little bit of texture. Up here is mainly just double crochet. It's not really a hard hat as long as you're able to do the front post and back post stitches. So let's go ahead and get started on it, and I'll show you how to size it because this is made with a bulky 6 yarn. I'll show you how to make it different for a smaller weight yarn. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Okay, for this project I used Patton's Iced yarn. It is a super bulky number 6. It is a acrylic wool blend. Now, you do not have to use this yarn. You can use any bulky weight 6 that you'd like. You can use a 5 weight, a bulky 5 weight, or you can use a medium weight 4. The color I'm using is called Midnight, but of course you can use any color that you want. So in the video, when the time comes, I'll show you where to increase to make it bigger if you decide to use a regular medium weight 4, or if you decide to use a bulky number 5 weight. So just watch for those points into the video. Now, if you're using this is sized for a 21-inch head. My head's 21 inches. I used a 6mm crochet hook. Now, if you have a bigger head than that, you know, maybe you want to make it for a man that has a bigger head, or maybe your head's a little bit bigger. I don't know if I have a small head or what, but mine's 21 inches. If you need to make it bigger, do not use a J hook. Use a K, a 6.5mm crochet hook. Now that goes for any size that you're doing. If you want it to fit 21-inch head, regardless of what weight you're using, if you're using a medium weight 4 yarn, a bulky weight 5 yarn, or the super bulky 6 like I used right here, use a 6mm. But if you want it to be bigger than 21 inches, no matter what weight, use a K, which is a 6.5mm crochet hook. That'll make up the size difference, and hopefully I think that'll fit. So with all that being said, just watch for the points in the video where I tell you that you'll need to make adjustments for the different size yarn. So hopefully it doesn't get too confusing. I think it'll be all right though. So let's go ahead and get started on this hat. And I just want to take a second to ask you not to forget to subscribe to my channel. If you look in the lower right hand corner, you'll see a subscribe button. You can just click on that and you'll automatically be subscribed. And please don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoy it. Okay, we want to start with a slip knot on our hook, and we're going to work a chain of 3. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch to form a ring. Now if you want to use the magic circle here, that's fine too. Now I'm going to chain 1. Now that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to be working through the center of the ring, and I'm going to work 12 double crochets right through the center. May need to scoot them over a bit to get them all in there. There's 12. Now we're going to end round 1 by slip stitching into our first double crochet that we made. Not the chain 1, but the first double. And you'll have 12 stitches. Now if you pull your tail, it'll usually close up that circle a little bit, and then you can use the tail later to sew it together more. So now what we're going to do for round 2 is we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to be working right back into this very same stitch here that we just slip stitched into, and we're going to put 2 double crochets into that stitch. And now I'm going to work 2 double crochets in every stitch all the way around. 2 doubles into the next. 2 doubles into the next. So I'm just going to repeat that pattern of 2 doubles in every stitch until I get back to my starting point. Okay, I've made it back around the end of round 2, and you want to end by slip stitching into your first double crochet. And now you should have 24 stitches. So I'm going to chain 1. Now what I'm going to do is put 1 double crochet right back into that same stitch that I slip stitched into. So just 1. Now the next stitch is going to get 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Now the next stitch is going to get 1 double crochet. And then the next stitch is going to get 2 double crochets. One double into the next. And then 2 doubles into the next. And that's the pattern we're going to repeat all the way around. 1 double into the next. And then 2 doubles into the next. 1 double into the next, and then 2 doubles into the next. So I'm going to repeat that all the way around until I get back to my starting point. Okay, I've made it to the end of round 3. Your last stitch should have had 2 double crochets in it, and you want to go ahead and end with a slip stitch into your first double crochet, and you should have 36 stitches now at the end of round 3. So round 4, we're going to chain 1. And we're going to put 1 double crochet into the first 2 stitches. So the very first one's going to go right here where we slip stitched. And then we're going to put 1 double crochet into the next stitch. And then the next stitch is going to get 2 double crochets into the same stitch. So that'll kind of be the repeat for this time around. 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So there's 1 and 2, and then 2 double crochets both into the same stitch, the next one. 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So there's 1 in that one, 1 in the next one, and then 2 double crochets into the next. Again, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So there's 1 in that one, 1 into the next, and then 2 double crochets into the next. So I'm going to repeat this pattern all the way around until I get back to the beginning. Okay, I've made it to the end of round 4, and you should have 48 stitches. You should end with 2 double crochets into your last stitch, and so go ahead and slip stitch into your first double crochet. Now this is where it's going to be different if you're using a bulky 5 or a medium weight 4. Now if you're using the 6 weight like I am, we're going to not do any more increases now. We will have 48 stitches. But if you chose to use a bulky number 5 or a 4 weight yarn, you want to do 1 more row of increases. So what you would do is chain 1, and you would put 1 double crochet into the first 3 stitches. This is what you would do, remember, if you're using a bulky 5 weight or a number 4 weight. And then you would put 2 double crochets into the next. And that's what you would repeat all the way around. 1 double crochet into the next 3, and then 2 double crochets into the next. Now, and then you would repeat that all the way around, and then you would end with a slip stitch into your first double crochet, and you would have 60 stitches. And then that would be your last round of increases. But since I'm using the bulky 6, and if you're using the bulky 6, super bulky 6, we're going to end right now at round 4, and we're only going to have 48 stitches. So I'll just go over it one more time. Remember, I just ended round 4 with my super bulky 6 yarn. I have 48 stitches. That's what you want to have if you're using a number 6 yarn. If you're using a bulky number 5 weight or a medium weight 4 yarn, you'll want to do round 5 would be another row of increases where you do 1 double crochet into the first 3 and then 2 doubles into the next, and you repeat that all the way around, and you'll end with 60 stitches. So whether you're doing like me or you've already increased another round for your 4 weight yarn or your 5 weight yarn and you have 60 stitches, now what we're going to do is just work 1 double crochet in every stitch around. So I'm going to chain 1. I'm on round 5 for a 6 weight. If you're using 5 weight, bulky 5 weight or 4 weight yarn, you will now be on round 6. Does that make sense? So we're going to go ahead and start by putting 1 double crochet into the first stitch and then 1 double crochet in every single stitch all the way around. So there will be no more increasing. I just wanted to show you how you can make it bigger using a smaller weight yarn, how you could still make this pattern. And that's all it was just doing that extra row of increases. So I'm just going to continue working 1 double crochet in every stitch. Remember, regardless of what weight of yarn you're doing, there are no more increases. You'll either have 48 stitches now if you're using a 6 weight yarn like I am, or you're going to have 60 stitches if you're using a 4 weight or a 5 weight. So regardless, it's just 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around until you get back to the beginning. And then you'll notice your hat will start to come down more like a hat. Okay, I've made it around with the 1 double crochet in every stitch, and you just end with the slip stitch into your first double crochet. Now if you're working with the bulky 6 like me, or super bulky 6, you'll have 48 stitches. And if you're working with the 5 weight yarn or the 4 weight yarn like we talked about, you'll have 60 stitches. Now you just want to repeat that rounds of 1 double crochet in every stitch until you have you'll have 8 rounds if you're working with the thick yarn, the 6 yarn like mine, and you'll want to work till you have 9 rounds of if you're working with 4 weight or 5 weight. I hope I'm not confusing anybody with that, but so 8 if you're using the same size yarn I am, and 8 rounds total starting from the beginning, and then 9 rounds total starting from the beginning if you're using those smaller yarns, the 4 weight yarn or the 5 weight yarn. Now after that, what we're going to do is chain 1, and we're going to put 1 double crochet back into the same stitch. Now that double crochet right there is going to act as a back post double crochet. So what we're going to do in the next stitch is we're going to work a front post double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go around the post of the next stitch like that, and then we're going to work our double crochet like that. Now the next stitch we're going to do a back post double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to go around the post of the stitch, but we're going to do it from the behind. So you put your hook from behind the stitch, and then you go around the post of it like that. So the post is on the back of your hook, and then you go ahead and do your regular double crochet like that, and that's how you do a back post. The back posts are a little bit more difficult than the front post, but you should be able to get it once you do a few. Now the next one's going to be a front post double crochet. So go around the post of the stitch where it's on the front of your hook, and then do a double crochet, and the next one will be a back post. So yarn over from behind, put the post on the back of your hook, and then double crochet. And that's what we're going to repeat all the way around. Front post double crochet, and then back post double crochet. Front post double crochet, and then back post double crochet. And we're going to repeat this pattern all the way around until we get back to the beginning. Just like that. Okay, I've made it back to the beginning. Your last stitch should have been a front post double crochet, and we're going to go ahead and end with a slip stitch into our first double that we did. And you'll have 48 stitches if you're using the thick weight yarn like me, and you'll have 60 if you're using those two smaller weights. So what we're going to do is just repeat that row again. We're going to chain 1, double crochet into the first stitch, and then front post double crochet around the next stitch. So we're just repeating the previous round. Back post double crochet around the next, and then front post double crochet, back post double crochet, and then front post double crochet. So you'll be able to see that we're keeping the posts lined up. The front posts line up with the front posts, and the back posts, they all line up with the back posts. So if you look at it, you can see the posts lining up. So I'm just going to repeat the row that we did, the previous row. It's just the front post double crochet, back post double crochet, repeat all the way around until I get back to the beginning. Okay, I have made it to the end of round 10 for the bulky weight 6, and if you're using those two smaller weights, you'll be one round ahead of me, so you'll be on round 11 right now. So what I'm going to do now is a row of single crochet. So I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to go back into that same stitch right there and single crochet, and I'm just going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch. No more working back post stitches or anything like that. It's just a regular single crochet into the top of every stitch all the way around. Just like that until we get back to the beginning. Okay, I made it back around. You want to end with a slip stitch into your first single crochet, but what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into the back loop only. So right here is our chain 1. We don't want to go into that. Here's our first single crochet. We're going into the back loop of it, not the front loop, and we're going to slip stitch like that, and then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to go ahead and put a single crochet into that back loop only. We're only going to work in the back loops now. So the next stitch, working in the back loop only, single crochet. Again, you go to the next one. You can see how each stitch has the front loop, and the one closest to you is the front loop. The one furthest away is the back loop. And we're only working in the back loops this time. So go right through the back loop and single crochet. And that's what we're going to do all the way around. So back loop into the next stitch and single crochet. and back loop into the next stitch. So you only have one loop on your hook, and single crochet. And we're going to do this all the way around until we get back to the beginning. And what that's doing is just kind of creating a little bit of a ridge there. You can see it with my yarn. Just a little bit of different texture. So I'm going to continue doing this, one single crochet, back loop only of every stitch until I make it back to the beginning. Okay, I've made it back around. 48 stitches if you're working with the thick yarn, and you'll have 60 if you're working with the other two weights of yarn. And you want to go ahead and end with a slip stitch into your first single crochet, but we're going to work in the back loop again. So go ahead and go into the back loop of it and slip stitch. Now we're going to repeat that round again. So we're going to chain one, working in the back loop, single crochet. And then it's one single crochet in every stitch, working in the back loop only of every stitch. So we're just repeating the previous round. Okay, I've made it back around, and let's repeat that round one more time. So we did it a total, this will be the third time we've done it. Go ahead and end with a slip stitch into your first single crochet. This one right here. Go in a back loop only though. And then chain one. And single crochet back into that same stitch, back loop only. And we're just going to work one single crochet in every stitch, back loop only. This will be the last round that we do this on. So I'm repeating the previous two rows, or two rounds. Okay, I've made it back around. Now, this is around, I've just finished round 14 with doing the big weight yarn. Now, if you're using the two smaller weights, you're going to be a round ahead of me. So you'll be on round 15. You just finished round 15. So what we're going to do, I have my 48 stitches. If you did the bigger or the smaller weight yarns, you're going to have 60. I'm going to end with a slip stitch into my first single crochet, but I'm going to go through both loops this time, not just one. So go ahead and slip stitch through both loops, just like that. Now I'm going to do a round of single crochet, but going through both loops. No more just going through the back loops. It's just going through both loops. So I'm going to chain one and single crochet into the very first stitch, like that. And going through both loops, just regular single crochet. So it's just one single crochet in every stitch. Now remember, we're working through both loops this time. It's not just one, it's not just back loops. Both loops. One single crochet in every stitch. Just like this. All the way around until you get back to your starting point. Just like that. Okay, I've made it to the end of round 15 for the bulky weight, the super bulky 6 weight. And if you're doing the smaller weights, you'll be on round 16. Go ahead and end with a slip stitch into your first single crochet, going through both loops. Now I'm going to be finished with mine. Now you try your hat on depending on what weight that you're doing. And if you feel like you want it longer, add another row of single crochet, another 2 rows of single crochet. Because if you're using the smaller weight, like the 4 weight yarn or the 5 weight yarn, you might need to add another row or 2. You might not. It depends on, you know, the size of your head. If you like your hats long or short. But that's all up to you. Even with this 6 weight yarn, if you feel like you want to add another row or 2, go right ahead. Just do regular single crochets. But I'm going to finish mine right now. Remember, make it as long as you want though, doing just regular single crochet rows. I'm going to tie off. I'm going to go ahead and excuse me, hide my tails real quick. Okay, that's it. That's all there is to it. I think it turned out pretty nice. I really like the yarn. So yeah, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hopefully I didn't confuse you trying to tell you how to do it with different weight yarns, but I just wanted you to be able to use any size yarn that you had and show you how to make it bigger. So yeah, remember, please don't forget to give this video a like. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down there in the lower right hand corner. You can also find the auto subscribe link in the description box of any of my videos. Just click on that and then you'll automatically be updated every time I put on a new video. And don't forget to check out all my other tutorials because I have hundreds of them. So until next time, have a good day.